So welcome back to the only daytime courtroom drama that matters, Decoy Court, with today's featured posts coming from r/relationships, and the first post is, my friend, a 39-year-old male, is obsessed / made a finsta with me and won't move on. I'm a 25-year-old female. So maybe I'm just getting old or out of touch, but I have no idea what a finsta is. But as always, we're going to read the entire post, go through the top comments, go through the controversial comments, and your comments down below to get that official Decoy Koi Pond verdict. So let's go ahead and get to the post right now. OP writes, I was never official with Ray, a 39-year-old male, but we were talking / being friends with benefits for a while. I considered it dating. I'm a 25-year-old female. I think he felt like it was always more and going to be more, but I ended up going back to an ex and I moved on with my life. We dated 3 years ago. I found a finsta, fake Insta he made of various posts going back 3 years about me. In the post, he talks about losing the love of his life, and through details, I've confirmed it's me. He writes about how he's upset I moved on, how he's miserable, asking people close to me about me, interactions with me, and seeing from a distance. He also writes about how to get me back. It's not threatening, but it's weird and creepy. He wrote about how it seems like I've talked to him less and less over the past year and why, which is sprinkled in with stuff about how he hates me because I won't talk to him. He's married now with a kid, and his public Instagram is followed by 10,000 people. He seems to be a very well-liked person. What do I do? Do I report this account to his wife or just keep monitoring it? Do I tell him I found it? Too long didn't read. A friend / ex-friends with benefits, Ray, a 39-year-old male, made a fake Instagram where he vents about me. It seems like he hasn't moved on from our relationship 3 years ago and bemoans how I have. What do I do? So we gotta take the case over to Decoy Court real quick to give you my knee-jerk reaction to the situation. And honestly, it's not like they're looking for advice as to like am I the antagonist? But this is a situation where they say it doesn't seem threatening, but he hasn't gotten over me. This is terrifying to me. Like the idea that somebody that you dated 3 years ago is having this faux relationship with you online that you're not participating in and have no awareness of how it really is. I would actually kind of be a little bit scared because it's like they obviously haven't gotten over you. They've made this fake account. They have another account as well. As far as what OP should probably do, they should probably reach out to the person saying, hey, look, I found something troubling. This is an Instagram account. You need to let go. You've moved on. I've moved on. You don't want to be the whole thing like I'm going to snitch on him to make him really angry and possibly lash out towards OP, but this has to be addressed now before it becomes anything more bizarre than it really is. And maybe the, I don't know, the decoy defense, what would be the inverse of that is maybe this wasn't, giving him his fair shake. Maybe this isn't him. Like she says, maybe there's not pictures of Ray as well, it's pictures of some other person. Maybe if Ray has been moved on for after 10 years, seems well liked, has a kid, he's married, this is somebody else making that Finsta account, the fake Instagram account where it's like a fan account, and maybe she's like, it's misattributing to him. So that would be a super messed up thing if OP reached out to Ray's wife saying, hey, your husband has this Instagram account about me, when he's not the person, because I don't know, like I kind of feel that someone that's devoting that much amount of energy towards somebody would be someone that wouldn't have be married to somebody else with a kid, but maybe I'm entirely wrong. So we'll take a brief recess in Decoy Court. Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you're letting me know with story number 1 how you feel about somebody having a finsta about somebody, and maybe this is just a commonplace thing that I'm just out of touch. I'm becoming an old man right now. But let's go ahead and get to that top comment, which is, that's super weird and creepy. The fact that he's angry with you for moving on, yet he had a wife and kids, is disturbing. I'd do what the post above says and send to the wife and block, but then take a bunch of screen caps and save them, just in case it ever progresses beyond social media. Which is true. They're the top comment now, and I don't know who they're referencing, but yes, they should take some pictures. They should let them know. Let him know about it. And then OP writes back saying, it's disturbing. He most likely had painted me as obsessed with him, so not sure if sending to the wife is best unless it's anonymous. Possibly, yeah, might probably let her know that this is occurring. The next top comment is, send it to his wife anonymously, block him and move on, which is true, and the reply to that was, this is what I would do. I don't believe there's anything you can do to make him take it down, but I let the wife know that he's obviously not over you and is obsessive about it. They can deal with that as they will. Block him and continue moving forward with your life, which I still agree with the whole block him and move forward with life, but the idea is you can't do anything about him posting pictures of you. I think you can. I'm not exactly certain, but I'm sure if you reported it to Instagram saying, hey, they're using my pictures without my permission. They may or may not take action on it. So the next top comment is, I think regardless of whether or not you want to act on it, you should document it, screenshot everything, and store it somewhere safe in case you ever need it. Secondly, tell the people close to you to put him on an information diet. Okay, yeah. Personally, I wouldn't act anything beyond that. I don't think it could be dangerous, especially if he felt cornered. And I don't think anyone telling you to tell his wife could guarantee your safety. Your safety comes first. You don't have very actionable information to give her anyway, like you would if you knew that he was cheating or that he did something terrible, at least more terrible than obsessing and ranting about someone he's not actually naming. That's not to diminish what he's doing, which I think is creepy and indicative of someone who doesn't view women as people. If I were married with a kid, I'd want to know what kind of man I was dealing with. But as of you right now, he's out of your life short of trying to gain information about you. Hopefully you can start to control that on your end, and hopefully without throwing up alarms that you know about his Finsta. I think him being out of your life is exactly where you want him to stay, and hopefully you can keep things that way by not poking the bear that isn't thus far crossing your path. I'd also delete this post. So I see a lot of good information on that where it's just a situation like, yes, you should probably tell the wife she deserves a no, but maintain your safety first, possibly through anonymity, possibly by getting that Finsta destroyed by some other means, and also the idea of, yeah, make sure that the information died. I haven't heard that phrasing in a very long time, but the idea of just get it so no one's telling him what you're doing, where you're living, what you're up to right now, because that could result in something very different. So let's go ahead and go to the controversial section to see what they're saying about this right now. And the top controversial post is, I have mixed feelings about this. While it's not really healthy for him to be dwelling on it like this, it sounds like maybe venting online is just how he's coping with it, like a journal, so to speak. If he's not stalking or threatening you, I would just say block the accounts and have no further contact with him. Personally, I just leave it alone unless I felt my safety was threatened. So this is a person that really hasn't dealt with, I'd say, a stalker before. The idea is if he keeps on venting online, that's not what just your average run-of-the-mill Joe is doing, where they're dwelling on a relationship 3 years ago, haven't moved on mentally, where they have time and effort to put it into something that occurred such a long time ago. The idea that if he's married with a kid now, there's something else that is missing from the equation that I feel like. So that's my thoughts on story number one. I say the Decoy court is probably going to side in favor of making sure that OP keeps himself safe, and also that this is not an okay thing to be occurring. So let's go ahead and go to that second story of the day, which is a 27-year-old female boyfriend, a 30-year-old male of 3 years, dropped the ball on my birthday for the second year in a row. So OP writes, for the second year in a row, we've been together for 3 years, my boyfriend dropped the ball on my birthday. He lost his job twice in the past 2 years, once because of the lockdown. In 2019, I told him not to get me anything and to forget about dinner. I assumed he'd still write me a card or something, but he didn't. My mom was in town that year, so we went out to dinner. She paid for the entire thing, and as we were leaving, he was going to go meet up with some friends at a bar. I was angry. He couldn't afford to help my mom pay for dinner, but he could go drinking with friends. Anyways, fast forward to this year. I wanted to visit my siblings in another city for my birthday and told him he was welcome to come, but I didn't want to pressure him if he was in a financial strain. He said he'd come, but proceeded to complain about how he didn't know he was going to make rent that month. Because of this, I knew not to expect any kind of gift, but I didn't expect how little he'd do. No card, flowers, Instagram post. Stupid, but I always make one for him. Nothing. I feel so stupid saying that I was upset that he didn't get me any flowers or post a picture of us, but it just really hurt. Especially considering I've always tried to make his birthday special. I don't feel like I can say anything though, because I know in his eyes, he sees coming with me as his gift to me. Which was nice that he did that. The thing is, he knows all I ever want is a meaningful card or flowers, which are really inexpensive. After supporting this guy through 2 job losses, I thought he'd put some thought into my birthday. There have been plenty of other issues in our relationship that would have made me question whether or not we should stay together, but this one hurt so much it feels like the final straw. I know I'm 27 and I should grow up about my birthday, but this is the one person in the world who should do something for it. Too long didn't read. My boyfriend dropped the ball on my birthday in the past 2 years, and I feel like it's the final straw. Edit. Holy cow, I did not expect this to go so many comments. Thank you for all your input and kind words. It's been so helpful to know it's not all in my head. Thank you all. Heart emoji. So taking the case over to Decoy Court is, one thing I always say is, try to give both sides a fair shake and be very level-headed on these things, but I've seen this reply a lot of, Decoy, you only give the male perspective, and I'm like, I only have the male perspective, but with this situation, it's like, okay, so to be fair, with Decoy Court is, I've seen this person, I've dated this person, I've been friends, like I've had girls that were friends with this person that have, you know, the difference of love languages where they need gifts, they need a special dinner, they need an Instagram post, they need a whole bunch of stuff, but they fail to communicate that to the guy. Who knows what he's doing in his love language as far as like affection, physical touch, or just I don't know love languages. But the idea is maybe in his mind he's absolutely doing everything that he thinks would communicate love to her, and all she wants is things that she's not explicitly asking for. Some guys are just dumb. I'm dumb. Like, I don't really know what to do for the girl unless they explicitly tell me to. So it's like, yes, I would love to make them happy, but not if they just kind of say, oh no, you don't have to take me to dinner. Oh no, I don't need anything. No, I know you lost your job, but where's my flowers, cards, Instagram posts? I wouldn't even naturally do that. I haven't updated my personal Instagram in like a year now, so how would I know of anything about that? The idea is, I could see where this is coming from because she's very, very hurt on the idea that he's just not meeting her expectations, but I mean, sometimes they just need an extra push. But the inverse of that, the decoy defense, if I was trying to see it from her perspective, is maybe she has been very, very supportive, paying all his money, giving him money, thinking like, oh yeah, I'll pay your rent the month of my birthday, so whatever cash you have on hand could be going to a card, flowers, maybe drinks. She talked about how he didn't pay for dinner for her birthday last year when went out drinking with her friends. It's like, well, maybe he like you know, was going to an expensive bar. I was figuring like sometimes you can go to a bar, your buddy owns a bar, you get free drinks, or your buddies are rich, so they buy you drinks all night. So it was like, maybe he's not actually just balling, just not like on her. No, maybe this is a situation where she's totally financing this guy's every single move, and he just totally takes advantage of her and isn't really invested in the relationship. So this would be a wake-up call for her. So as always, let's take a brief recess in Decoy Court, and I really want to know what the Decoy Court down below is saying in the comments to story number 2 on what you would do if you were dating someone that just seemed to put such little effort back in the relationship that you're putting in as yourself. So I'll shoot over to that top comment right now, which is, girl, he's showing you who he is. Believe him. True. And the next reply, yes, I had an ex who was perpetually broke. He never did anything for my birthday or holidays because he had no money, but a heartfelt letter, post on social media, walk through a nearby park, cost nothing, and they mean just as much. I had to learn that I was teaching him that was acceptable by tolerating it. You train people how to treat you. Let them know this is not acceptable. You deserve and need better, and if he can't step up, then lace up your boots. And it's a true. People treat, it was something from Oprah a long time ago. People, maybe not from Oprah, but I heard it on Oprah, was people treat you the way you let them treat you. And it's like she's training him that this is permissible, this is all she needs for her birthday, and she will tolerate it and stick with him even though he's putting in less of an effort. So we'll go to the next top comment, which is, if he hasn't realized after 3 years what is important to you, he never will. Seems like you're doing all the caring in this relationship. And it's true. Maybe they're just incompatible and there's nothing wrong with that. The next top reply. You need to talk to your boyfriend about this, openly and honestly. Hun, I feel like you have been completely disinterested in celebrating my birthday with me. It hurts my feelings when you make it clear that this is unimportant to you when it's important to me. Is there a reason why you're so disinterested? It's possible that he's a selfish jerk. It's also possible that he doesn't think birthdays are important or valuable. My husband was raised with very little focus on birthdays, so he doesn't expect to have his birthday celebrated, and was puzzled when I made a big deal out of them for our kids. Find out this is a difference in habits or selfishness and make your decisions from there. Which is true, just because you have you are very hinged on the idea that, yes, we need to have something for my birthday. We need to go out to a dinner. You need to make an Instagram post. Maybe he just doesn't care about it and doesn't even know that it's hurting you because, like I said, some guys are dumb and we need to be taken directly to the dish to be able to find it. The next top reply was, you know how easy it is to make someone feel special without spending money? Immediately say happy birthday when they wake up. They've already made you coffee. Okay, so there's examples, and they say, here's a few small examples. Money is not what makes love or makes a day special. This is a grown 30-year-old man who cannot step up and show his love for you. Bye. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to be angry about this because they oftentimes put themselves in the situation of OP, and they like it conjures up memories of them, so it makes sense that other people are going to be upset and want to, coach her through a situation on how to get more respect and how to get someone that's going to treat them better on their birthday. But I honestly, we can't see the entire story. Maybe he is just a selfish jerk that knows how much of the birthday's worth to her and he doesn't care to lift a finger, or maybe he's just a clueless dude that doesn't realize that birthdays are important to her. So, I would say give him a chance to make it better, but beyond that, if he doesn't change and doesn't care, doesn't want to lift a finger, it's time to move on. But it's time to move on to that third and final story of the day, which is my 29-year-old male girlfriend, a 27-year-old female, has a photo of her ex in her handbag. So OP writes, I've been dating this girl for almost 3 months. We have communicated to each other that we are not dating around and we are looking for a relationship. I spend 2 or 3 nights a week at her place and she has already invited me to have dinner with her friends. She has already talked about me to some of her family. Today, minutes ago, we were about to leave her place and she brought her handbag to the kitchen table where I was sitting, and while she was putting things in and taking things out, she took out a picture of her and her ex-boyfriend. At first glance, I only saw her in the photo and I said, cute photo. But then I saw in that picture it was her and her ex posing for a photo outside of a restaurant. I know it's her ex because she has photos of them on social media. She took the photo from the table to her room. I was so shocked I didn't even question her about it. And kind of a downer. I dated women who were not over their ex and it was horrible. I just don't want to get fully invested in a relationship, like meet her family and meet her friends, when she doesn't seem that she's over her ex. Is this a red flag? Should I confront her about this? Too long didn't read. My girlfriend keeps a photo of her and her ex in her handbag. So taking the case and rushing it over to Decoy Court, because some reason over the time, Decoy Court has just become a relationship drama talk show. But this situation, this person said that, like, he's been dating this girl for 3 months, almost 3 months, and communicated to her that they're not dating around or looking for a relationship, so they never made it official. I know that dating in 2020 is vastly different from, even just a decade ago, but the idea is, unless you say, that whole that conversation, hey, what are we now? You're not in a relationship. You're not together. You're not exclusive until it's explicitly stated. And the idea is like, oh yeah, we've been dating for almost 3 months, not that long, and said we communicated to each other they're not dating around. Well, that exclusivity where you're saying, well, I haven't been seeing a lot of other people, that doesn't really quantify relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend. Who knows about this? The idea is like, told you spend a couple nights at each other's places. Okay, good. It's leaning towards good. And also talk about him to some of the family. It might seem that he's a little bit jumping the gun where he's like, yeah, she mentioned to me to family. Cool, I'm in. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. You have to get verify what it is, and oftentimes you don't want to be the person that does it, so just let it flow naturally. The idea is she had a picture of her ex-boyfriend inside of her purse and was taking it out. I mean, it doesn't seem that he's 100% verified that it's his ex-boyfriend, and also it doesn't even mean anything necessarily. Like, I've had situations where there was like an old picture inside of my apartment, an old picture inside of in the car, or like an old letter or something that's like, in the glove compartment that I just forgot about it because I'm a messy person. You guys see this one corner of my place, but if you saw that side over there, you would think it was the dump. So, I mean, the idea is it could be something entirely innocent and benign, but the idea is he's shocked and it's a downer, and he's dated women that went over their exes and it's horrible. Yes, it's horrible when you're dating someone that is still into somebody else that may or may not go back to that person before, but the idea that he's carrying that type of baggage with himself where he's like so worried about it, looking through her purse, worried about things, and maybe getting ahead of himself, is it a red flag? Maybe, but you should just talk about it. Too much of this stuff is, too much problems in relationships are made by just lack of communication because you're too bashful to ask for exactly what you want. He needs to just walk up to her and say, hey, are we together? Are we boyfriend and girlfriend? I mean, that's not advice that I would ever give to anybody, but the idea is if he's that concerned about it, just let himself know so he saves himself the hurt later on if he's that worried about the whole being down and also that she's not over her ex. Who knows? But the Decoy defense would be just the inverse of that, is they've already had the talk, they're together, and all of a sudden when she took the photo, she looked at it and slipped it in her pocket real quick, looked around, ran to her bedroom, opened up her safe, threw it in there, locked it, and then also put like a deadbolt around it, and then put her bedsheet over the top. Like, that would be a shady thing right there. So it's hard to say, but let's go ahead and shoot over to those top comments right now to see what everybody else is thinking. The top comment is, just talk to her about it. Once I was wearing my partner's winter coat and found a photo of their ex in their pocket. Sometimes you forget old photos / don't clean out pockets. You guys have only been dating for a few months. Just talk to her about it and let her know how you felt as a conversation rather than a confrontation, which is probably really good advice. People make mistakes. People are messy, and also it may or may not mean anything, but he needs to just talk to her about it. The reply to that comment was, I just cleaned out my bag, which I have been actively using for a while, and just found a few pills from when I was trying to get pregnant. I currently have a 6-month-old baby. There's no telling how long those have been in there. Seriously, OP, there's no telling what kind of things you can find in our purses. She probably feels awkward that it was there and didn't know what to do, so she panicked. I believe that. I really do. But then there's a comment that has, that was downvoted, but it says, yeah, a woman's bag is a black hole into another dimension. I dropped stuff in mine and can't find it for like 5 years, and I believe that as well, where just you don't know what's in there. And the next reply to that was, or the next top comment was, you two have only been together for 3 months. I have dozens of handbags, some of which I haven't cleared out for several years. Is it possible it was an older bag? And OP came back and said, according to her, she broke up with this guy a year and a half ago. It could be the case that she hasn't used this handbag in almost 2 years, but ... What are the odds of that? And I think we have a very, very good, clear insight on this guy's personality, where it's a very, I don't want to, we're not ragging on him, but just like seeing who he is in the subtext of what he's saying is, he automatically goes to, she has another guy. It's already like, the worst case scenario. What are the odds that she's not talking to him still? She's still in love with him. That makes me think that he's kind of already on the side of just being a little bit lower self-esteem. But one more top comment, which is, sounds like she hasn't used the bag in a while. She took it to the kitchen to sort through, found the photo and put it somewhere because it no longer belongs in her bag. Talk to her about it. And all these great comments about just having good communication and speaking up. If you're so afraid that she's going to go back to her ex-boyfriend, maybe you should just have that conversation of what you guys exactly are. If he's still around, are you seeing other people? Like, it's just a good communication, and maybe they're at that point, maybe they aren't. He's staying at a place 2 or 3 nights a week. I mean, I think 10 years ago that signified relationship, but nowadays it means a little bit less, which is kind of sad. So there's my post for today over on Decoy Court. Let me know what you guys are thinking about story number 1, 2, and 3. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing down below and joining that Decoy Koi Pond by also turning on the notifications, because as you know, sometimes you won't see my videos when they pop up every single day at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But as always, like the video, share the channel, but if nothing else, go ahead and put this on autoplay and watch the next episode of DecoyNoise coming up next.